my first guest. Now, if you try and phone in, Kate, I'm going to wait for you. The pressure's on now. You have to get this right because it's the first show. So if you just call in. Okay, let's try again. I know you're there. Ring again. Ring, ring. It's calling. Okay, right. Here we go. Any moment now.
Hey.
Hello.
We'll get there eventually. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay.
Oh, you're finally here. I'm so sorry. Do you know what it is? I think it's QA. It's the slow hotspot signal. Is delay on every single thing in life. I swear, there's a whole delay. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you? And it's Friday as well. How exciting! Back to the weekend.
So, first of all, how was your week?
Well, I've given you some exciting news, so we will tell more later on, but it's been a really, really busy week overall, just sorting things out that are going on, not really in the classroom as such at the minute, but hopefully in the next few weeks. So it's been, a bit of a crazy week this week. Yeah, so we will explain more later.
Oh, I can't wait. We're keeping the listeners on tender hooks, I swear, tender hooks. So, first of all, with any new guest, what I would like to do is just for you to explain your background, really, because I love hearing stories about how people get into teaching, any challenges that came their way, the route they got into teaching as well. So, the floor is yours.
Right, story. Okay, so sit back, it could be a while. So to start off with, I didn't actually go into teaching. So I went to Liverpool Uni to study anatomy and human biology because I wasn't sure what actually I wanted to do. So it involved cutting up deceased bodies for a bit, which, yeah. That and teaching slightly different. And then I kind of thought I could do with doing something that I actually get a job at the end of the degree rather than something that possibly I wasn't sure what I was going to do with.
Yeah.
So I came home, worked in a pub for a bit. Mum and dad were a bit of despair over what was going on, I think. And couldn't pull pints, so I wasn't great at that either. Worked in an office for a bit, and then I was like, what on earth am I going to do? And I was teaching the violin at the time anyway, which we can talk a bit more about later with the music side of things. My mum kept saying, have you thought about teaching? You know, you teach the violin, you'd be really good at it. And whatever my mum says, I was a bit of a rebel at the time. Whatever she said, I'd do the opposite. And I was like, absolutely no chance. And then I went into the local school just to try it out. And as soon as I got there, it was just like, I just absolutely loved it. The atmosphere, the children. And she was right. She was right. So that's how it sort of came about, really. And so I went into learn about primary education for 3 years with QTS. That's kind of how it all happened, really. And then I was lucky enough in my third year that a job came about within the school. So that's how I sort of got my first teaching post, really. So that was like 13 years ago now, which seems like yesterday in some aspects. So that's how my teaching career started. And then I do like a good quote, Alfred. So I've put some quotes in here about how I got why be a teacher. So the first one, Sir Ken Robinson.
Here we go.
Are we ready? So it says, every day, everywhere, our children spread their dreams beneath our feet. How magical is that we are a part of that? It's just special. It gives me goosebumps thinking about that we are part of a child's like learning, education, their whole life, their dreams. It's just, we're privileged, really, I think. And that's something that I think sometimes we forget when we're moaning about how difficult things are, or like with the whole COVID and working from home. But we are extremely privileged in our job that sometimes I think we kind of forget that sometimes. And then there's another one. Are you ready for this one?
I feel like, wait, let me look. We've got I don't know if we've got a drum roll. I'm not sure. We have got a drum roll, but I won't put it on because I don't know how long it lasts for.
We'll save it. So the next one, are you ready? So
We're ready.
education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. And I think as a teacher, it's not just about the impact on the children, but it's the community, the parents, it's all the stakeholders. And we are sort of a pivotal role in the big grand scheme of things of changing the world, aren't we? And I think, wow, just like you think you're only a small, tiny part, but actually if we all work together in a way that we can actually have a huge, huge impact on everything globally, really. And I think that's such an amazing thing to be a part of, that I think sometimes we do tend to forget that, and actually how lucky we really are. So that was kind of the magic behind it all, really. And then I taught in year 5 for quite a few years. Then I went down to year 3, and then the foundation phase came in Wales. So instead of it being like a key stage 1 kind of thing, it was foundation phase. So as a school, we had a head teacher that wanted to mix year 2 and 3 together. They're both key stages. So I taught, so I taught a 2-3 mix. We're quite a big school, so there was like 3 year groups per 3 classes per year group, and it went to a massive 2-3 mix of 6 classes that rotated round and chose where they wanted to go. And it was basically for this transition of the new kind of curriculum with foundation phase at the time. Absolute chaos for a few years.
I bet.
Yeah, and then
how did you cope with that at the time?
It was just mental. I was on breakdowns because I'd come from key stage 2, the way that was led to, even the children in year 3 are going round. I mean, there was a lot of positives to it. And sometimes we have to be thrown in the deep end into things that we're not actually as confident in to be able to progress. And I think a lot of positives came out of it, but at the time it was like, oh, what is going on here? Which then led to a new head teacher coming in, and she decided for me to go to a pure 2 mix, which was lovely to get across sort of experience across the 2 curriculums. And then I went back up to year 5 again, and then I had my first child, which was Theo. He's now 5. And that's when things start to change a little bit, the way you sort of perceive things maybe with your career. I was very, very career driven, still am. But it's very difficult when you've got a child or something happens in your life, that perspective sometimes you think you have to take a step back at certain times in your life, maybe. So I came back full time. Theo went to nursery full time as well. I sort of was music leader in different things, and then it went to sort of curriculum leader of year 5 and 6. That was 6 classes. And then I was lucky enough that I went on the GWER, which is like the Welsh Government Middle Leadership course, in 2018. And at the time, we're sort of developing the new curriculum in Wales, which is coming into full flow at the minute, really. So we were given £10,000 budget as our sort of cluster consortium. Basically, like, right, what do you want to do with this money to start to go towards the new curriculum? And the head and the deputy decided that I was going to be the person with the deputy to go to all the cluster meetings and start to sort of decide how we're going to go forward with the new curriculum in Wales. So I was really lucky to have that sort of opportunity. And instead of just being for Key Stage 2, it became a whole school thing. So our thing was to do with people voice. So I started off by the children basically planning it just within my class, and they wrote on Post-it notes, and then I would take it to PPA, and then that would sort of feed into the actual planning process. And then a few other teachers decided to do it, and then it became a whole Key Stage 2 thing. And then I sort of passed it down to Key Stage 1. And then I was going to some of the different meetings with Welsh Government, and the pioneer schools were saying that they started to do people voice through big questions. So the children would come up with big questions to do with the topics. They would write it down, and then it would get fed through that way. So then it kind of went down that route, and it's just been evolving ever since 2018, really. So it's sort of been an evolving thing. And then just as the end of sort of 2018 sort of happened, a job role came up within Key Stage 2 to be the curriculum lead. So I had to do quite a big interview, and there was somebody from the Welsh Government there and everything else, because it was for the whole 12 classes. Found out I got the job. That was towards the summer. Went on holiday to Menorca, and I thought, goodness gracious me, my shorts aren't fitting here. I couldn't even fasten them. And I found out I was pregnant. So it was like, oh no, what am I going to do here? So I couldn't couldn't sleep all the time. I was thinking, I've just got this new job role. It's permanent, TLR2. What on earth am I going to do here? So I messaged the head teacher on holiday and I was like, look, I cannot deal with the sleepless nights here. So that sort of went on. It was fine, expected all the rest of it. Cracked on with the job when I came back, got my 12-week scan, and then found out it was twins. So it was like, so that was when things started to be a bit like, oh my God, So I went from one child to three children. And then the question on there
odd numbers is great, isn't it?
Yeah, but as a career, that's when you start thinking, what are you going to do? And I think as a parent, it doesn't matter if you're male or female or adopted, got your own children, whatever the situation is that you're going through, it's that thing of what do you do when you have got that career and the pressure, and people were thinking maybe she's not going to come back, and like people being thinking what's going to happen, and people asking me things, and it's so hard as a person when you've been so career driven in that way. So I had the year off maternity again, came back, and I was like, I am coming back full time. Children went back to nursery, and then COVID hit. So it's been really a difficult time last year, really. But I mean, it's one of those. I came back, didn't have a class, so I sort of covered from nursery to year 6, which was the best experience I've ever had.
I bet.
I literally got plopped in every single class. I taught every single class, which is 20-something classes.
Wow.
21 classes from nursery to year 6 in about 4 weeks.
Love it.
Amazing, though. I would recommend it to anybody, because especially when you're in the leadership team, because you can see the progress. You can see how the teachers work so hard in every single year group, the TAs, everybody involved in it. They have such an important job no matter where you are. And I just think if you are given the opportunity or make the opportunity to do that, it's the best thing I've ever done. And then COVID hit, and then it all sort of went from there, really. So back to it now, back into class. And so I've had a year 5 class this year again. So that's my story really so far. With the whole,
you know what though, you come across, and the reason I wanted you on my first show was because I just knew that, like with Kate Jones as well, I know that if we were in class together, we'd get told off for laughing at the back, sort of.
I'm told off for laughing too much, and my face says it all, and I'm too honest and just like literally say it how it is. So I
absolutely.
I was panicking coming on here because I thought I've got to be careful what I say.
I know. Well, you know that intro that I did, I was like, I've got to time this perfectly. How am I going to do it? Just wing it. That's been the motto this year. Just wing it. But the reason I wanted you on so badly, I think you just are so positive all the time on Twitter, and I know that you do like the kindness ripples, and you invest so much time into Twitter, and you provide a lot of support. I've seen a lot of support for other educators as well. So for me, Twitter means a lot because of the CPD that it's given me as well. What does Twitter mean to you, really?
I just think it's just an amazing. I only started really doing it this year, as in when I came back off maternity properly. Before that, it was just in dribs and drabs. But I think it's such an amazing community to be a part of, because you can support other people, they can support you. The ideas, I think, from a class perspective, you can share the children's work globally with different people. So artists or authors, and it gets their work out there, which is just brilliant. You can sort of learn from other teachers. I think sometimes your perspectives can be challenged a little bit and opened. I think one of the things with sort of festivals, religious festivals and things like that, if you haven't got that sort of access within the community or within the area that you live, you can ask other people to help you, to send you resources, to get other opinions.
Absolutely.
It's just a brilliant way of being able to sort of get help, really, and support where it's needed, and also to celebrate other people and other people that you see. And sort of some friends on Twitter that seem like Adam's done some amazing things lately when he's been sort of talking on different radio shows, and just to be able to say well done to other people, really, and it's just a brilliant place, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think I don't know about you, but and I don't know about other listeners as well, but there's that inner saboteur that comes to us sometimes. And I don't know if you've had it in your experience, obviously going in and out of class, having children, so different transitions that you've had. And even when you're away from school, maybe having that inner saboteur thinking, I wonder what people are thinking about me, or I wonder what people think about this and that. And actually, Twitter does provide on the general side of it, such a supportive network, and you are such a big part of that.
Oh, and you too. Thank you. I try
so I obviously you are a massive about Flipgrid as well. Now, to be honest, I don't know much about it, so you're going to have to teach me sort of the basics of sort of what it is and sort of your connections with it.
Well, it all started from my maternity coming back. So we've got an amazing teacher, Kelly Goodall, I'll give her a big shout out, that came in on my maternity, and now she's the acting assistant head here at the minute. And she's worked for the Welsh Government through doing lots of digital things. And she sort of brought in Flipgrid into our school and all the other kind of digital things that we've been doing. So I've just sort of gone from there with it as a student voice ambassador within the school. Wow. And basically it's an app through you can get on the iPads, and the children can basically amplify their voice through it. So it's a way of recording. You can use it in many different ways. So you basically just record their work. The children can then comment on each other's. You can share it to different people. You can change the different backgrounds. You can make presentations with it. You can change the time limits and all the rest of it. But it's just a brilliant way for children to be able to put their opinion across, or put their voice across, or their ideas across. I know that Kelly especially, she's done projects with it where she's had children record things and send it to the elderly in the local community. Wow. And then they've been able to report back. So there's loads of different things you can do with it, but I highly recommend that is something to use. We're using it on our reports this year. So the children have recorded their opinions of the year on Flipgrid, and then a QR code gets put on the reports, and they get sent back to the parents. So it's more personalised. So yeah, it's just a brilliant overall app that you can use for pretty much everything, to be honest. Yeah, brilliant.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to look at that in terms of our school as well. And so the special announcement.
Right. Whoa.
Okay.
This is hot off the press.
When do you want me to do the drum roll?
I could do one on the table if you want, just in case it goes on for 10 minutes.
I know, yeah, it might do. It might just be there with a purring drum roll.
Yeah. So again, Twitter, which we spoke about before, and everything else, that I'm really, really lucky that through Adobe and Adobe Education, and especially here's another shout out, Dom Trainer, who works for Adobe. I got my level 1 Adobe kind of thing award this year when I came back off maternity, and we're very lucky in Wales, I'll just go on sideline slightly, that we've got a platform called Hub. So basically every child in Wales within the school education system, no matter what key stage it is, there's this thing called Hub. So basically they can access it at home or in school, and they have free access to Adobe, to Google Documents, to Minecraft, to be able to do all their work on it. So with Adobe, especially this year, we've used it, well, I have within my class with my learners a lot. So it's just like an extension to the pencil case, really. So instead of recording their work, they've been in their books, they've been using it a lot digitally, and they can make web pages on it and posters and different things. So I've been sending all the work and pestering Dom an awful lot and sending him the work and say, look at this. And it's really good to get your work out there to different people, so the children then get infused by it. And a competition came out through Adobe, which is to work alongside Khan Academy. So the two companies are working together, and it's a free contest through Twitter to basically you had to enroll on a free creativity course. Can't even say the word. And then get my teeth in. And then basically from there, you then had to show how you use creativity within the classroom through Adobe. So I sent a tweet out with loads of a range of different things from what the children have done this year across since he's been in, and at home when they were during lockdown as well. Put a load of links together, sent it off for the competition, and then I got an email through saying, can you just sign this document? And I sent a message to Dom, and I was like, I think I've won a t-shirt or something, do you know, like, just like, we've won something, it's probably a t-shirt, I'll just sign
Love
it.
a good t-shirt or a mug.
Yeah, or a pen, it might be. And then another email came through, and we've won the whole competition globally. I think there's another winner possibly in America. So yeah, so it's all sort of escalated the last few weeks. So we are going to be having a drop-in session with Sal Khan, who runs Khan Academy. But because he lives in America, he lives in America, the time differences. So he's going to be getting up at 7:30 in the morning. We're staying after school to be able to do this drop-in session where my children can ask him questions. And it was just so exciting to be able to have the children speak to somebody within the educational setting that is so well known and so famous and done so much for education. And also the fact that we're having a film crew come in to film it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet you'll love that.
I know. So I was like, right, I've got to make sure my makeup's on point, clothes are on point. No, I'm joking.
Not on me to get the children.
I get my nails done, eyebrows done. So it's just a fantastic opportunity for the children, really, and also for the school, and just to celebrate the fact that we've been doing so much with the Adobe education, with the Adobe kind of things within school. So Dom especially, I cannot thank him enough for all the support this year, from doing the level 1 and all through the help that he's done throughout the year with the children as well. And it's just such an amazing opportunity, and the parents have been so thrilled with it. They've just said, thank you so much for giving them the opportunity. And we've just been so lucky that we've won it because of all the things that we've done. And it's not me. I said to the children, it's not me that's done this. It's you that's done all the marvellous work. And it's just a brilliant way to end the year, really. So, yeah, apart from we were now rushing around thinking, I've got to tidy the classroom.
What's going on? Yeah. Just build an extension.
I know. But so it's been it's hot off the press. I had to even ask Adobe because I actually say this, because we've had to sign decorations and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's brilliant.
And it's one of those things that I think is so, like you said, about education and how magical it can be, and not just about the children, not just about the staff, but for the parents as well, like you said, and that whole triangulation with the children, teachers, and the staff and the parents all coming together to celebrate this.
Yeah,
definitely.
So lovely. Yeah.
So what's the next step with it?
So we've sent all of the letters to be signed. So a week on Wednesday, that's when the actual film crew are coming in. So we've got another week and a half. And so it's all exciting times ahead, really. And I think it's going to be used for different things, obviously, from there once it's been recorded. So yeah, it's exciting times.
Fabulous. So we're sort of coming to the end of the time. I know it's gone so quickly, I can't believe it. But obviously this is the Drive Home show, so I want to try and you've been such a positive guest for the listeners back at wherever they are, in the car, on the train, I don't know. So apart from the Adobe situation, what's another highlight of your week which you've had?
I'm trying to have a think now. Oh, I was laughing because when you asked me this, I said I've already been hit in the face with a roundest ball today. That could be a highlight.
Yeah, I've got to go home. Sorry.
Yeah, we do so many things within spinning so many plates, don't we? We're masters of everything. We've had we've got the children across 5-6 have been organising a cheerleading competition within the county.
Wow.
So I tried myself until I hurt my neck, so that didn't go too well. So I've retired from cheerleading. I just sit on the chair and direct now. So they've had it extendedly. I've been working really, really hard on that. So it's been at lunchtime. So I've been dedicating my lunchtimes to cheerleading this week. Dedication all round. So they've done really well with it. So it's been a good highlight that they can see an improvement. They're super excited. They've planned their outfits. They've planned the hair. Everything's going on. So yeah, that's definitely been a highlight of this.
So with all that's going on, I know, so in Q8 it's very different in terms of what's September looks like. I know that documentation is coming out and all this is happening. That man that resigned, we can't say his name.
It's like
so, what? So do you know, in terms of your school, sort of, because I'm really interested to know, what will school look like in September, or is it very much in progress what it will look like at the moment?
It seems to be exactly the same at the minute, as in we're still in seats that are spread apart, 2 meters apart. We're still not singing.
Yeah.
We're very much following the guidance. I think other schools have slightly maybe not doing that. I don't really know. I can only speak. I just don't know. I just hope that at some point, it's even Rose. I am one of these that I just will not have it. I know some people are, but I'm not. And I just like the children to be able to move around. And it's just, I found that a bit tricky this year. So I'm just, even if we can get the tables back together and sing, that is the one thing I want to be able to do.
Wow. Do you know what? I was going to bring up your musical background just after this, and it's like you've sidelined naturally into it, singing and playing the violin.
Yeah, I'm so amazed at you being able to, you and Joseph. I mean, wow, that's just, what a thing to be able to say that you've done. You definitely need to be doing some of that singing on Twitter.
Oh, do you know what? I'm not going to put people through it.
Oh, come
because
on.
I haven't done it in so long. I don't know. It's the thing is though, I don't know what it's like playing. I mean, I used to play piano a little bit as well, but the voice is, I don't know, a little bit different than just like another type of instrument. It seems more inconsistent almost. But
I don't know about that.
Talk to me about the violin and sort of your background with that, and have you played it in front of your classes before?
So I started to learn the violin when I was about 6, and I just randomly said to my mum and dad, I want a violin, and my mum and dad just looked at each other because neither of them are musical and thought, where on earth has this come from? So then they got me a violin for Christmas, and my nan lived in Chester, and there was a really, really good violin teacher that lived around the corner from hers. So I started going there every weekend for lessons, and it just developed from there over the years. And I got to grade 8, played in loads of different orchestras, the county orchestras, went to Italy and Barcelona, played for Bache for some really famous person, but I don't even know his name anymore. It was like so long ago. It was like as a
so famous that you don't know his name. That's the thing.
It was like, but in the past, he's like a famous person in the past, shall I say? But I don't know his name. He was in the Alarm. So I had to play for him. I've done a bits on there, and and then I learned to play the piano when I knew I was going into teaching, really. But I think the violin's something that I'm better at than the piano, really. And I panic if people hear me. Do you know, like some people are very good at just being able to do it, and I just start thinking, oh, ground swallow me up. I'm not a performer. I'm more just a sit at home and play kind of person, really. But I got asked a few weeks ago to play the violin in a quartet. I've been pestered to play for the Wrexham Symphony Orchestra. But it's the timing, do you know, like I've got 3 children, I work full time, the practicing's like at 7 till 9 or something in Wrexham, which is like a fair bit away, and it's just, I can't commit to it, unfortunately, at the minute. But music's a massive part of me. I love music. I listen to it all the time. Dancing. I said to you, if we were on video, I'd give you a dance off any day of the week. It's just part of who I am. I just absolutely love it. And that's something that I think is so important within school, that creativity aspect of it. I know that I kind of put up loads of art on Twitter that I do. I'm very much into music and art, and it's not just all about literacy and numeracy, and I'm a big believer in that. And like, as I said before with the Sir Ken Robinson quotes, that it's just so important to sort of hone in on other things other than just that, and the creativity part of it is just such an important aspect of a child's life. Yeah, and I'm a big believer in that. And I was saying about the singing, I wouldn't class myself as a good singer, but I used to do this. I try. I used to do
That's
all
good
the
enough,
singing.
though.
Yeah, and I think it's as long as you're enthusiastic and you're not bothered, the kids love it. And I used to do the singing club when we could within school, and I had like 100 kids that used to come every week and join in with the singing, and it'd all be way and loads of concerts. And then this is the funniest bit. I'll finish on this bit. That we had like a boys singing club, shall we say, and there was about 30-40 of them, all the cool dudes from like year 5 and 6 rocking up singing. And then they said, oh, the county are doing a performance. They want you to do, like, as in at all schools around the area, do a performance in Theatre Clwyd, and it's going to be in front of the parents and everything else. And we got there, and all these children going la 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 la, and like practicing and doing whatever. And I looked and I thought, oh, mine turned up dressed as zombies, hair all done, got on the stage and just threw out Thriller.
Love it.
All the dance moves, singing, and I thought, well, yeah, that was the highlight.
Did you by chance show them Sister Act 2 before they auditioned?
It was like the highlight of everything. Do you know, like they just all turned up with blood all down and with their hair all sticking up, and they just completely they were fab. And I think to be able to get children involved that you don't necessarily think would want to do it, and get them involved because of and Thriller, Michael Jackson at the time, and they even did it to their year 6 in a leavers prom. They were doing all the dance moves, and to have an impact like that on somebody's life, that they're going to remember that forever and ever and ever, is just to be part of it. It's just an amazing thing, isn't it? And I'm sure you've got memories like that so far in your career, that we are, as I said before, we're so lucky to be able to have an impact on these children's lives for the future, isn't it? I just think, wow. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I can't believe it's that time. I've got to let you go. I can't. Can we do this every week?
Yeah, I think we need to.
Just forget everyone else. Listeners, I really hope you've enjoyed listening to Kate. It's just such an inspirational story, and you're completely right about creativity. You know, all the music that should be happening in school as well. And everyone listening, let's cross our fingers that we're going to be seeing a video of Kate playing the violin soon on Twitter, please.
Thank you so much for this opportunity as well, and I've really enjoyed it, so thank you so much.
Thank you, and speak to you soon.
Thanks.
Bye. Well, I'm sure you can agree that what a great first guest to have, full of complete enthusiasm, full of positivity, and this is what I want this show to be about. Sort of finishing the week, no matter what challenge we've come across, no matter what challenges we have throughout the week, we are able to have a laugh about something, and actually whilst having meaningful discussions about education as well. Okay, we're going to go into the news now, and then after the news, we've got my partner in leadership, Crime. So Jonathan, put down the biscuit or something that you're eating. It's not snack time yet. You have to wait until the news is finished.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News with Megan Goods.
This is a Teachers Talk Radio special report on the 10th of June 2021, Ofsted review into sexual harassment in schools. A new Ofsted report has been published on cases of sexual harassment in schools. To conduct the report, Ofsted visited a total of 32 state and private schools and spoke to over 900 young people. The Chief Inspector herself said she was shocked at the scale of the problem and the underpreparedness of teachers, schools, the government and Ofsted itself for dealing with it. 90% of girls and 50% of boys said they were sent unwanted explicit images or videos a lot or sometimes. Students interviewed said that sexual harassment and sexist name-calling was commonplace, and one inspector was told that boys had collected nude photos of girls and shared them on social media. The children spoken to often didn't see the point of challenging or reporting this harmful behaviour, because it had become so normalised. Amanda Spielman, Her Majesty's Chief Inspector, said, "This review shocked me. It's alarming that many children and young people, particularly girls, feel they have to accept sexual harassment as part of growing up. Whether it's happening at school or in their social life, they simply don't feel it's worth reporting. This is a cultural issue. It's about attitudes and behaviours becoming normalised, and schools and colleges can't solve that by themselves. The government needs to look at online bullying and abuse and the ease with which children can access pornography. But schools and colleges have a key role to play. They can maintain the right culture in their corridors, and they can provide relationship, sex, and health education that reflects reality and equips young people with the information they need." In response to the reports, the Department for Education pledged to introduce better safeguarding guidance and support schools to recognise sexual harassment and abuse, and teach confidently about issues of consent and healthy relationships. Gavin Williamson also acknowledged that Ofsted's review has rightly highlighted where we can take specific and urgent action to address sexual abuse in education. But there are wider societal influences at play, meaning schools and colleges cannot be expected to tackle these issues alone. The report was commissioned following the launch of the website Everyone's Invited, a safe space for students to report sexual abuse and harassment at school, which has had submissions from students covering 3/4 of all UK schools.
Okay, welcome back. So, time for the next guest. So, for the last 20 minutes, here he is. I'm going to invite you in now. We have someone who is very special, who I moved to Kuwait with. Are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can, sadly, yes.
You know, I'm such an old man. Literally, the technology was going to defeat me before I'd even got on, I swear.
Oh, great. So,
can I just say, why on earth? No, sorry, I have to say this. Why on earth did you get Kate on before me? She was such a phenomenal guest. This is going to be the biggest come down for everybody listening. So, can I just tell everyone, please just switch off now? You've got nothing left to hear.
You have to prove yourself now.
Right.
But you will, don't worry. So he's been doing painting or drawing all day. So put your pencil down now.
And I didn't have a cookie. Can I just say, I'm going to have one as a reward after this.
I know, you've had to wait. So introduce yourself to the listeners today, please.
It feels like I'm at AA. Hello, my name is Jonathan. I am a teacher of dubious standard. I've been teaching, oh gosh, how long has it been? I think, because I started in TEFL, teaching abroad. And I think there's a little bit of snobbery in the teaching community. Well, maybe it's just from you when you talk to me about my history.
Not at all.
So I don't know if I get to count that as teaching, but I qualified, I think 4 years ago. Maths isn't my forte, so the numbers could be completely wrong. So I did 3 years TEFL, came back to the UK because I thought, do you know what? This is the only job I've ever had that I am actually any good at. Let's make it formal and proper and get qualified. So I came back, did my PGCE, and then went to my fabulous school. And the school I trained in is the one I got my job in for 3 more years. And then we made the decision of coming out here. So it feels like it's gone over very, very quickly, although it's been a mad ride, absolutely mad.
I know, and we're going to discuss that roller coaster ride. If Ronan Keating was here, he would sing it for us. Life is a roller coaster. You just got to ride it.
People would rather you sang it than me.
So let's just talk about how you got into teaching. Because I know, obviously, Kate did the 3-year course. I know you're the same as me. So if you, how did you get into teaching? First of all.
Well, a bit like Kate, actually, I didn't decide to become a teacher at university or anything like that. In fact, I was adamant that I would not become a teacher. Although I did English literature at university, and everybody always says, well, other than teach English, what can you do with that degree? And I still haven't worked it out, hence I'm now an English teacher. But I went into, I did all sorts of terrible banking, selling loans and insurance broking, and I was dreadful at all of them. More than one employer tried to get rid of me for being naff. And then I had this sort of midlife crisis in my mid-20s and thought, I'm going to just throw it all in, and I'm just going to TEFL and go to Bangkok, as you do. And I'm just going to have a year out. And the only teaching I'd done, the only contact with children since I'd been a child, was when I did some volunteering at a local primary school, which is very, very unlike me. I'm not the most giving person. And it was just helping primary school children to read in York. And I really quite liked that. There was something satisfying in the way that flogging loans to old ladies who can't afford to repay them. There was a level of satisfaction that I got from teaching that I didn't get from that. And so that's it. I went off to Bangkok, and it was within the first few weeks. I remember sitting down and having dinner at my tiny little table in my little studio apartment. And I thought, this is it. I found it. I found the job for me. And the rest, literally to where I am now, has been strategically planned. The going home, 1-year PGC, second job. I wanted my NQT status in the UK. I decided, as desperate as I was, to become an international teacher again, because this is how I can see the world. It was this or join the Navy, and I could be useless. I get seasick. So it had to be this. And then I think I stayed in the UK a little longer than I was going to, because I don't know, I couldn't quite pluck up the courage to go back abroad on my own. And then I managed to persuade you to jump ship and come as well. And then I just needed that sort of somebody, you know, when things go wrong, you want someone to blame. And so I brought you out here. And now we have like this little strategic plan of how we could plot the next few years as I ride your coattails. And it's going
absolutely, and it's the complete opposite, everyone. I get to blame you for everything, which is very nice.
It's usually my fault.
Absolutely. So in terms of the secondary PGC, what was that like in terms of your experience with secondary?
Oh, well, so I loved it. And looking back, I would do it again. I actually,
would you?
Lots of people said, yeah. I mean, maybe it's the whole rose-tinted glasses thing. I loved the people I worked with. I made some friends for life. My course tutor was amazing. And even though TEFL gave me such a good grounding in classroom management, the teacher voice, that power and authority you have to fake every day. The skills of teaching and lesson planning, which I'm still a novice at. I feel like I'm still learning so much. And I enjoyed the thing about being a student is you're sort of spoon-fed whether you like it or not, even though I'm sure that's not how any of us actually teach. Whereas when you get to our stage now, to learn how to teach, you have to be so active, which is what you do all the time. I mean, this is why I have no conversation from you. You just become a better teacher, and you sort of actively go out and seek this knowledge. Whereas when you're doing your PGC, it's sort of shoved in your direction. And I cannot multitask. So how I'm a teacher is beyond me. But actually, getting all that knowledge and doing all that research that you and Kate sounds like she has done such a great job of as well, I find that really difficult. So I would do my PGC again just to have it put on a plate, really, which probably makes me sound incredibly lazy, which is very true.
You need to take your phone off the desk because I can hear it vibrating.
Oh no, it's actually on a pillow, so we'll move on from that.
So in terms of thinking that, okay, I don't maybe know enough, or I don't want to go into leadership. And then what happened when just before we moved out to Kuwait? What happened?
I've always thought leadership was one of those things. It's like dead man's shoes. You have to crawl over your fallen colleagues to get into a position of power and responsibility. And I thought the best strategy, therefore, is to avoid it completely. And I always hid behind that phrase, which I still trot out to this day, as I just want to be the best classroom practitioner that I can possibly be, which is true. I do, but I do definitely hide behind that. So I had people that trained at exactly the same time as me, clawing their way into positions of responsibility and doing it brilliantly. And I was a bit intimidated, actually, by how well they did it. I mean, some of my friends from at home, and they're these sort of formidable characters who can teach and plan and juggle and keep all those plates spinning at the same time, and still have a social life and hobbies. And I thought, well, I can't do that. I'm still spending 4 hours on a lesson plan, which I still do. And so I thought, leadership isn't for me. And then we got this job at this school, and they were really desperate. So they said to me, could you please be head of English? And this is not me being self-deprecating. This is actually how it happened. So I thought, well, head of English, I go on then. There's a department of one, me, and I'm easy to manage. So I thought this is going to be a walk in the park. And then they mentioned that they also wanted me to run the primary school English department. And I did that thing which you should probably never do in interviews, when you just go, yes, of course, you just nod, and in your head you're thinking, maybe they'll find someone else to do it. And as time ticked by, I found nobody else. They found nobody else. And I ended up with this title, English lead primary school. And I'm not primary trained. I did my 2 weeks in my PGC, that was it. So very quickly I thought, I'm going to have to fudge this. But you can't really fudge being an English lead, which I don't know why I thought you could. And then I remembered someone very wise once said, leadership is the art of delegation. And I thought, that is a style of leadership I can get on board with. And I looked up, and there you were on the sofa, twiddling your thumbs, nothing to do. And I thought, I've got just the man for the job. So since that day, I have sort of taken all the credit for your incredible work. I mean, I've attended the meetings, so I've kind of kept the pay, which I think is only fair.
Absolutely. Listen, everyone, he's kept the pay. He gets to go to the meetings. And I feel like, in those films when you go down to the basement and there's like the scientist that's actually the genius of it all. And he's down there, or he or she, sorry, down there in the bunker working really hard, and no one knows who they are. Everyone's forgotten about them. And then the person up top is, this guy's great. He's brilliant. He gives it the chat in the meetings.
I mean, I have to admit, our flat is actually a sweatshop, and you are the poor unfortunate slave who is churning out all these great ideas. And literally before meetings, I come to you and I'm like, Alfred, what do I say? What do I say? You tell me, and then I go and look pretty good. And I think I've really tried to learn as much as I could for the primary school role. But it's extraordinary. And I think any school should be really careful about who they place in positions, because you need experienced people, because that's the only way you can do justice to the students. And I have this year done justice to my secondary students, my year 7s, because we're a startup school. But I've spent this year thinking I'm not really doing right by the primary school students as me individually. As a team, we're acing it. So I think the best thing I've done this year is when I persuaded the senior leadership team, with your help, of course, to allow me to move out of that role and to sort of place you. So it's been a really good, what would you call it, sort of apprenticeship for you this year, doing all the work, getting under the credit. I think that's what an apprenticeship is, isn't it? Unpaid, 0 hours contract. Have you found it?
You know what? It's been such a difficult year, and we have really stuck by each other. And I don't think I couldn't do it on my own. And I know next year, I'm doing primary, you're doing secondary. But I don't know about other listeners, but I'm sure that everyone knows that you just cannot do things alone. Even though you've got the title, it doesn't mean that you are that one person. You're that one expert. It's actually, I think we've done both equally really, really well this year in terms of taking the staff with us. And, you know, we're new to the school anyway, so we had to join the school, be teachers in a new school, and then suddenly go, actually, this is what it should look like, and try and implement new strategies, new changes. And I feel like we've done that really well. And again, moving into next year, I think we're going to continue to work as a strong team as well, and you're going to ride my coattails, which is absolutely fine.
Goodness, it's the only way I'll get another job one day. I think one of the great things. Oh, sorry, what were you going to say? It's your show.
No, go for it.
One of the great things I've really liked is doing this leadership role as a team. I've never considered myself much of a team player. I've always thought if you want something doing right, you've got to do it yourself. And I'm a little bit shy. I don't think I could order people around, and I think I'd be quite hard to guide people and perhaps even have those harder discussions with people that as a leader you need to do. And I think at least in a partnership you can have that sort of good cop, bad cop. Also, that person there is there to just be your sounding board, to prop you up.
Yeah.
So I have enormous respect to the people that fly solo in any leadership role and make these calls on their own, because ultimately the decisions you make have a huge, profound impact on the learning of these students, and you really don't want to get it wrong.
No, absolutely. So your role next year, so you're head of secondary English, managing yourself, but so I don't know if other listeners know in terms of John's position, but so this year he's built up year 7, and each year, let's touch wood, everyone, the secondary school will grow year by year. So obviously next year you've got to grow year 8. Now that may seem like less work than managing being an English leader for a whole primary school, but it's completely different. You can't compare. So what are the challenges in terms of developing English for a new secondary year group?
One of the things is I have to do everything myself. So whilst I trust myself, it's a huge workload. Whether it's every lesson, every PowerPoint, every resource, every mark scheme, every assessment, I have to not just create it myself, but really map my curriculum out, which isn't something I've done before. It's been done by my wonderful head of department at my last school and her deputies. So I have tried to remember as much as that's possible, steal at every opportunity. But it is that sense of, you can't segment school into individual years. It's actually a lot more organic, a lot more fluid, and you really have to know where your end goal is. So fingers crossed, I'm still here in 4 years' time, having delivered my first batch of GCSE or IGCSE students. So the whole time I have to have in mind that end goal. But what I like, as someone who has gone into leadership really reluctantly, is this year by year, step by step growth. Because it would be so intimidating, I think, stepping into a head leadership role of an entire department. English departments in secondary schools can be huge. You have 15 members of staff. It's the core subject with alongside maths. And I think that I get to just do each year, it's just those bite-sized chunks. And I have that breathing space. Now, next year, I will need new staff. And I think, like lots of secondary schools, we'll be looking at moving from Key Stage 3 into Key Stage 4 in year 9. So, the IGCSE content starts next year, which is, look how quickly this last year has gone. It's really not far away. I'm also doing this in the time of COVID, when learning is unlike any other year in history that I can think of. And we're trying to teach them the full syllabus, get them ready, teach them everything they need to know, whilst battling this extraordinary situation. We, as I think you mentioned earlier in the show, at our school have been doing online learning 5 days a week for 5-6 lessons a day. I think 4 or 5 lessons a day, actually, which has had its pros and cons. It means that I think we have been able to get through the curriculum at secondary. I don't know if you'd say the same at primary. I think you probably would, at least most of it. But we haven't had them in class, and there are some things that just works so much better in person. Group work is so valuable. Students teaching other students so that they can consolidate their learning, and also give the teacher time. As a teacher in the classroom, you can set them all off with a task and target your struggling students. Give a stretch challenge task to your most able. But online, that's a lot harder. And so I'm building a secondary school and factoring the COVID strangeness and hoping, keeping everything crossed, that sometime soon we're actually going to go back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Kate earlier about plans for September, and I know that we're trying to come up with strategies in terms of 15 in the class and how to set tables out, and all this is going on, and the tables don't look how we want them to look, which is even more frustrating. So again, it's just another thing that I think is coming our way, and will be interesting to see how it looks really. So just before I let you go, and then you can finally get your snack.
You're lucky I'm not in the kitchen already, if I'm honest.
So in terms of international teaching, just give the listeners, those that are maybe international already, I know Kate's in Abu Dhabi, those that maybe want to look at international teaching, just one sentence of advice. What can you think of?
Just go for it. I think I plagiarized Nike there, but you can really overthink it. So when I first said that I wanted to go international teaching, I don't think I'd been on many holidays beyond Gran Canaria. So my family were all a bit surprised. It was always my sister who had been the backpacker and the traveller. And she was like, I don't think she was as fond of Bangkok as I became. And they were like, well, you've never been there. How do you know you want to be there and live there? And because, once you're there, yes, you can always leave, but you usually commit to your contract and to your year. And sometimes I think you just have to do it, try it, because you will make it work. If you're the sort of person who can take that deep breath, take the plunge and get on a plane, you are the sort of person who will make a success of it. I assure you, it's that simple. And you get there and you make friends so quickly. They do say, just say yes to everything to start with. And I think that's actually really good advice as well, because you cannot do it if you don't make friends. I think you would agree with me there, because it's very much about finding your community when you get there, whether your friends are natives in the country you're moving to, they're expats from the UK, from Australia, from America. It's really important to have that gang, that base, because that's what keeps you sane, because we're all on the hunt for a perfect school, and there is no such thing. And you will always have gripes with the school, you'll have gripes with the country that you live in, because it's just not home, and their ways are not our ways. But it is the most rewarding experience of my life, and this is, as long as I have my health, what I will do for the rest of my career, and just see the world and teach in different countries. And I feel, it sounds quite corny actually, but I feel genuinely enriched as a person being an international teacher, because it has really opened my eyes. So do it, just don't put it off, do it this year, go for it.
Just constantly plagiarising Nike, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's only because I can see my high-tech trainers and their slogans are not good enough.
I mean, what you've said there is really meaningful, and actually the message of international teaching is just go for it, try it out. And like I know Kate Jones is commenting saying, I've been here 5 years, thought I would stay for 2 years. And we have that discussion all the time, don't we? Of, oh, okay, maybe just next year. But then we think about different aspects of the perks of international teaching, let's just say. And it's like, oh, maybe let's just stay for another year. And then we get given other opportunities in the future. Oh, okay, maybe 2 more years. And so I can see how it's so easy to stay for longer than you think. So anyway, thank you so much for coming on to my first show and being supportive.
My pleasure. Nobody's sort of deleted me from your show yet, so that's a good start.
No, what I was expecting was the online viewers to go down to 1, and that's me. So that hasn't happened, so well done.
Probably because they can't find the off button, which might happen to me. I might still be here this time when the breakfast show comes on.
And so, just to plug Jonathan's new Instagram, if anyone's listening, what is your new?
Shameless.
So he's amazing at art. What is your new?
I think it's something like John Draws or something really unoriginal. You wouldn't let me. You wouldn't
John's
let
Draws.
me have the. Yes, it's not that kind of profile. You wouldn't let me have any of the good ones. So it is something that bland. I can't remember what it is, but I think you've probably been very good and promoted me on social media. So if anyone wants to look at some very mediocre art, please find it.
It's not at all. And again, like Kate said, she has her music and singing. We will hear you play the violin one day, Kate. We will. And the world needs to see more of your artwork. So thank you so much for coming on. And
Absolute
I will
pleasure.
see you in about 8 minutes' time.
I'll go get the kettle on. And I just want to say, before I do go, well done for your first show. I think you are amazing. And
Oh,
you can
well,
pay me. You can pay me when I get your cup of tea.
I'll find some coins. Don't worry.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So there we go. Two fantastic guests we've had for you today. And I really hope you've enjoyed listening to their stories. And the idea of me doing the drive home show, hopefully, is that I can promote some positivity when we are all faced with challenges and when we all need a bit of a perk up. Is that a phrase? I don't know if that's a phrase or not, but we're going to say, let's have a bit of a perk up. So, you know, I'm very new to this. This is my first show. Hopefully, the other guys at Teachers Talk Radio, I won't get inundated with, oh, that was all right. We'll get back to you. That sort of, we'll get back to you soon. And then they just leave me alone. But can I just say a massive thank you to everyone at Teachers Talk Radio. Just the support, the organisation, in terms of the technology that I have to try and use now, and the jingles that I have to think about. Thank you so much. A great team, and I'm really excited, potentially, for continuing the show, but we'll see what the response is like, shall we? I've absolutely loved it. And please leave any of your thoughts in the comments box. Don't forget to share on social media as well. Next week, I'm currently confirming guests, but it will be a great show otherwise. So again, join me Friday, 4 p.m. Tomorrow, Saturday. It's Saturday, it's the weekend. What are you going to do on a Saturday? So yeah, let me know, let other hosts know what your weekend plans are. If you've had a difficult week, make sure you go for a walk. Make sure you take yourself off for a little break. Go for a Costa coffee. That's not plugging Costa coffee. That could be a costly coffee. Make sure you take yourself for a coffee somewhere and a bit of cake, just to reflect and think, I've done really well this week. This is what I've achieved. Because as teachers, we naturally listen to that inner saboteur all the time, thinking, I'm going to slip up soon. I'm going to do something wrong soon. And that time doesn't come. But remember that you are achieving every single day. Like Kate said with those wonderful quotes earlier, education is so magical. And it's just been great talking about it in such a great setting today. So tomorrow you have got Mira at 9, Amy at 11 o'clock, Tom at 1 p.m. and Samuel taking on the 6 p.m. Slot as well. So next week we are going to be focusing on NQTs. Now, I've just finished my second year of teaching, but it doesn't feel like it at all. It feels crazy that I've just finished my second year. So I've got very clear memories of my NQT year just from a few months ago, really. We're going to be discussing NQT's thoughts. We're going to be also discussing the trainee route as well, and what that looks like. What does the program look now in terms of the 1 year moving to 2 years? I know that we're looking something even internationally. We've got quite a few NQTs joining us, which is amazing. But what will that program look like, and how are they feeling? So it'd be great to hear from some trainees and NQTs calling in as always, and leaving some comments in the chat as well. So thank you so much for a great first show. It really has been fantastic. Make sure you tune in the rest of the week and especially tomorrow with the other shows as well. Thank you again for Teachers Talk Radio. And I will see you on the drive home next Friday at 4 p.m.
You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.